All right, episode number 3, technically. Yay. As you can see, I'm not alone again. Yes, I have people to talk to.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? Imagine.
More
But yeah,
than
I'm
one
gonna.
person.
Yeah, imagine. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna let him introduce himself because he's pretty great, and you all need to know him anyway. Words.
Oh my god.
Don't eye roll. Just go with it.
Wow. I appreciate it.
Okay, but go ahead
Hello,
and
good morning,
introduce
Internet.
yourself.
Okay. Yeah, hello, good morning, Internet. My name is Bryce Barnette. I do YouTube and a bunch of other stuff. Just fun stuff. I yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I make them internets.
He
I do
does.
let's plays and um I make a lot of 3D videos, home videos, I guess vlogs, sometimes food reviews or unboxings, just whatever the hell, whatever the easiest kind of content there is to make.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
All right, so the question of the day for today is what is your guilty pleasure?
what was my guilty pleasure? Of just like something to watch or like something to eat, like
Anything.
what anything. Because guilty pleasure has the implication that you ought to be ashamed of it. So I suppose Spy Kids. I really enjoy Spy Kids. I know it's awful. All three of them, especially the last one, which is my favorite, but is the worst one. I would say that one is. Otherwise, maybe eating McDonald's, but I don't really feel guilty about that. But other people do. So McDonald's fries, I'll eat that all the time. That's my favorite food. But if I only ate that, I would die. So I tried to not eat only that.
All right, my answer, because I'm gonna answer it too, is I mean, okay, I'm not guilty about it, but obviously I've been watching Bryce's videos like binge watching, so that's that.
Well, I appreciate that. It's not. It's. I mean, it's obvious to me and you, but it's. I don't think it's obvious to everybody else.
Oh yeah, okay. So I've been doing that. Another one is I've been like super into true crime recently, so I've been watching a lot of that. Um, and I can pick up on who did it within like the first 5 seconds. It's actually a problem, like how bad that is. But yeah, that's
You
one of
should. You
mine.
should be on that show then. You should find the people because you're like, I know it just because I feel it. And who needs science? You just you know, just assumptions are what make the world go round. Apparently, Trump's president, so that's what clearly assumptions work.
Okay, and so now I'm gonna get into my semi sort of interview thing. Yeah, okay.
Great.
We're we're
Well,
going with
I thought that's what this was already,
that.
but
No,
all right now
it is.
the real question.
It is, but this is the like the real legit questions. Okay. So what's your flavor of neurodivergence?
My flavor of neurodivergence. Can you define flavor in this context for me?
Like when it comes to neurodivergence, how do you identify?
Identify. Interesting. I never thought of neurodivergence as an identity because I thought it was something that you are diagnosed with.
Yeah,
Because
like what are
I'm
you
a
diagnosed with?
well back in fourth grade, I was diagnosed with the flavor of autism known as Asperger's, but I've now realized that that has been dismissed. So just the autism, but identity is one who is autistic able to just reject that they're autistic? I don't think so. So I don't
No.
think it's an identity, because if it describes you, it defines you. You know.
True.
So yeah, that's what I would say. So challenges for me are not being an asshole all the time. I struggle with empathy for people sometimes, and also a lot of literalization. I take very literally. So that's also caused me to be very particular about the words that I use sometimes. Also, I think I have an addictive personality, so I try to stay away from things that I know that are addictive. So, never drank before, never smoked before, nothing like that. And I also have avoided Pokemon cards because I know that would be a problem. So thankfully, I haven't lost my life to that either. So I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I already spent so much money collecting 3D movies as it is. So I think I need to just back off any new obsessions.
Okay. This was kind of answered a little bit, but so a hot take in the autism community is functioning labels. So like calling people high functioning versus low functioning. I was gonna do like a whole episode on my opinion on that, but
Well,
what's
I'm
your
curious what your opinion. Well, I'm curious what yours is.
Oh, okay. Well, mine is I don't like them. I just use like low support needs versus like high support needs because
Very
like
well.
technically I would be considered like high functioning. Um, but I feel like at least in my opinion, sometimes I feel like that it can invalidate me and like the support that I do need because I do definitely still need support in some cases. So that's my opinion on that.
I think that that's a very fair way to go about it, because I know when I was originally diagnosed, the term high functioning versus low functioning was thrown around a lot. And if that was indeed how it did work, then very well. But to my understanding, that's not how it works. So those words are not applicable to the subject. So it's not just a spectrum in two dimensions. There's to my understanding a lot of different factors that are beyond my knowledge as far as it goes with being autistic. But um, for me, I think I just try to do the best I can. I'm undiagnosed. What do you call it when you mix up spellings of words and numbers?
Dyslexia.
Yeah, that's undiagnosed, but I'm pretty confident I have that. Um, but I was diagnosed with reading comprehension problems. I guess I don't know what that's called, but um, yeah, it's rough for me to read stuff. So it essentially needs to be read to me and then be summarized, because otherwise it's really hard for me to know what the hell's going on. So I just did that with the whole Bible, the whole
Yeah.
thing, and that was rough. and I even with the summary from biblical scholars, was still pretty hard for me to follow. But yeah, I give it a 3 out of 10 for a work of fiction. It was worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm undiagnosed with I'm okay, I guess I'm self-diagnosed with dyscalculia, which
With what?
is dyscalculia. It's like struggle with numbers. It's like kind of similar to dyslexia, but not. Because I got tested for a learning disability when I was in community college, and all they told me was that it's a nonverbal learning disorder. Um, so like same with like the reading comprehension. I'm like, I literally have to have my textbooks like read to me, otherwise I'm like, what is this? But yeah, so
you know what? I thought of a point, but it was a totally different subject, and I know we're going to get to that subject. So carry on.
okay. But what made you want to do YouTube?
Yeah, well, maybe you want to do YouTube. Well, I think I have to first start off in what got me into content creating, because then that eventually landed me on YouTube. And back in 2005, I wanted to build a video camera because my parents had one. They would film a bunch of videos, and I wanted to have something of my own to film with. And I had realized that if you take a VCR and then plug in a PlayStation 2 connected with an iToy USB camera, and then use Dance Dance Revolution, there's a option in the game where it just shows you what the screen will look like without actually playing. I'm like, oh, that's a live video feed that I can record to a VCR. So in 2005, I figured that out, and then I had essentially a video camera that I made out of a PS2, and then in 2006, I realized that I could hook up a karaoke microphone to it, and then that would be the audio. So completely functioning. And when I first made this, it was the end of the summer around my birthday, sometime around there in 2006, where I had my friend over, Alec Tremel, and I'm like, hey, I built this video camera. Let's test it out. And I give him the microphone. And I never told Sarah this at all.
Yeah, this is my first time hearing the story.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is a big part of my life. So I handed Alec this microphone, and I'm like, just, we're going to record, just make something up. And he's like, okay. And he says, hello, my name is Alec, and this is Bryce, and you're watching Purple Toilet News. Here's Bryce with the weather. And I just went along with it. And so we just pretended to do a fake newscast called Purple Toilet News, and we thought it was so funny. And then so I had it on a big VHS tape. And then I entered 6th grade, and I brought this tape to school with me. And I think there was like a study hour or something. And I asked, hey, my friend and I made a video. Can we play it? And my teacher, Mrs. King, was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I played it, and everyone thought it was just so funny. It's very, very bad by today's standards, but 6th graders back then thought it was funny. So they're like, you should make another one. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. So Alec didn't want to do it anymore. He was embarrassed we even made the first one in the first place. So one of the viewers, Alex McCulley, wanted to make the second one. So we made a second episode of Purple Toilet News all about chopping off Dora the Explorer's head. And the reason was because I was making a a mask of the Egyptian pharaoh King Tut, and I realized that the shape of his mask is pretty close to the shape of Dora the Explorer's head. And so we bought a piñata of Dora the Explorer, and I needed to cut it off so I could build this thing for school. But I'm like, why don't I film me cutting it off? So that was what that episode was about. We made a third episode where my sister wanted to be part of it, and so she kept trying to get on the show, and we treated her like this monster, and we called her the Thing, and it was pretty funny. And in that show, she's known as the Thing from episode 3. In episode 3, we announced that we were going to make a Purple Toilet News movie, not having any idea how the fuck we were going to accomplish this. But my parents allowed me to bring their video camera to my school in 2006. So we just shot footage of random ass shit in a 6th grade classroom in 2006. And nowadays there's, like rules about like using your phones and recording, but back then that wasn't an issue. So there was no guidelines to when to record, when not to record. So we just recorded anything we wanted to. And we shot what you could call a movie. There was no plot, but it was just nonsense. And I realized there's no way to edit this, at least back then, to make anything inherently watchable. So I never actually released it back then. But we filmed it. It was eventually released in 2021. I got around to editing it eventually. It was for the 15-year anniversary of Purple Toilet News. And then, trust me, I'm making this sound way better than it is. It's awful. But after the movie, Alex wanted to move on. So my friend Colin Griever joined as the co-host, and we continued making Purple Toilet News. The 4th episode was a Christmas special, and then the 5th one was The Thing Strikes Back. Marissa came back, and then the 6th episode, we pretended to not have belly buttons for some reason. Moving on, episode 7 was, we added which I now realize was stolen from the Amanda Show, but we added a story time segment where I had just visited Florida, and there was a restaurant on the beach named Krabby Joe, and I stole that and called it Krabby Joe's Story Time. And that's what we did. In the 8th episode, we had a first-person perspective of like a golf ball, making it into a hole-in-one. That was pretty ridiculous. So that's that episode. In episode 9, I made an invention where I used a hula hoop to tie a wagon to a bike. Yep. And then episode 10 was an American Idol spoof. We filmed in the school again and got all my friends to pretend to do American Idol. This did so well that it played throughout our wing in the school. And the reason we made 10 episodes is because the school, we actually signed a contract to produce 10 episodes. And then at the end, I had just recently learned how to print DVDs. So in 2007, I sold this first season of Purple Toilet News on DVD. And we actually made quite a bit of money from that. I split it with Colin. And I don't know if the math quite worked out how I thought it did, but I know that I made enough money to buy a PlayStation 3 with it, which back then was $600. So if I'm splitting with Colin and we were selling it at $10 a copy, that would mean we would have to sell 120 DVDs. I don't think we sold that many, but somehow we made enough money to buy that. So yeah. Anyways, that's the story that I normally tell. Maybe I had some money saved before that, so maybe it was less sales, but give or take, somewhere between, I'm going to say like maybe 60 to 100 copies we sold. So after that, I'm just like, this is cool. I can make videos and make money. I always wanted to do that. And that's when YouTube started to get popular. And it wasn't until I think it was 2011 when I figured out how to take the DVDs that I had and then from DVD to publish it on YouTube. Publishing on YouTube in 2011 was rough. It had a lot of restrictions. Your videos couldn't be more than 15 minutes long, and there was no widescreen back then. At least I don't think. It was like 4:3. So, anyways, yeah, I published them back then, and then I had a bunch of Invader Zim videos that I published on that channel, and then I added vlogs and unboxings, and eventually gameplay. I streamed Minecraft on it. I played other online games, and the channel never did well. It was just a bunch of random ass shit thrown together. And so I was subscribed to this channel called vidIQ, which now has over 1 million subscribers. But that channel essentially teaches you how to make an effective YouTube channel, which I think is actually getting into one of your next questions. Do you want to just ask that one?
Yeah, if you could give advice to someone wanting to do YouTube, what would your advice be?
Yeah. So my first advice is go subscribe to vidIQ and watch their content, because they're going to tell you exactly how to make a successful YouTube channel. And one of the things that they do every week is do reviews of people's channels. So you could submit your channel for review, and they will look at it and then tell you what you need to improve on. I submitted my channel. It never got reviewed, but it doesn't matter if yours particularly does or doesn't, because just watching other reviews will give you a really good idea of what you need to do. It became very clear to me that you should not have one channel where you just have a bunch of different content all together. You should have separate channels for every different type of content you want to make. And so I then immediately just took the one channel I had, ripped almost everything off of it, and then made a bunch of separate channels for it. And now I have, I don't know, like 15 channels or something like that. Like maybe, I don't know if it's that many. Maybe I think like 13. It's a bunch. But and then that started to be successful. I'm just really passionate about storytelling, and so being able to have content creation, I think, is really fun. And I had one channel that will probably be the next channel that'll be monetized aside from my gaming channel, is most likely going to be the channel called Bryce Barnette Home Videos. My family gave me all of the videotapes that they recorded of my family growing up, and we then switched to DVDs, and then eventually it was like digital files with HD cameras and whatnot. We eventually had a 3D camera, and then also after like 2014, everyone had smartphones, and so then we just record everything on our smartphones, and so a lot of it was on Facebook, so I had to rip it from Facebook. But essentially, that channel is a chronological ordering of the events of my entire family's life, essentially from 1990 to the present. And yeah, I've been uploading 3 videos a day on that channel, and that is the biggest project I've ever worked on. Definitely would take an autistic person to do that, because I don't think anybody else would have the patience to deal with that. Yeah, but advice for making a new channel. All right, so for newer people, if you're doing like a series of something, it's important to name the video based on the topic being talked about instead of like the episode number. So at the beginning, when I was doing Purple Toilet News, it was just episode 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. And how's the viewer supposed to know if they're interested beforehand? They may not be. And so I then swapped it to Purple Toilet News Christmas Special number 4. I put like the number at the end, or vidIQ recommends you put the numbering in the description. So same thing for gaming Let's Plays. My very earliest ones were numbered, and it was just like, at first it was just the same thumbnail for the game with like the number on it. While that is helpful for people who are already subscribed to the channel to not get lost, that the amount of people that are super dedicated to the channel that are doing like a binge watch of all your stuff is going to end up being a very small amount of people, and most people are going to be seeing this video for the first time. That will be their first introduction to your channel, and so the video should be interesting just by itself, with a thumbnail that reflects the topic that's being talked about, and the title, at least the beginning of the title, should be what is being talked about in the video. And I found that when I switched to that, that did definitely a lot better. When it comes to thumbnails, less is more. Especially because they're so small, the simpler you make it, the better it is for someone to click on it and know essentially what's going on. Because I do Let's Plays on my main channel, I'll typically have in the top corner the game system I'm playing on. Normally it's PS5. And so I've now since made that just like very small, just so like the viewer knows like what platform, because sometimes that does matter. And then I have the logo for the game in the bottom left corner. At first I typed out the name of the game, but some names are actually very, very long, and it's more text to read. And I figured, well, if I'm just putting the logo of the game, that's more of an image rather than actually reading it. Like, if I put really, really small the logo of SpongeBob SquarePants, for example, you don't need to read that it's SpongeBob SquarePants, but you're familiar with the shape and the color of that logo, that you know, oh, that's SpongeBob. So it doesn't, if it's a logo, it doesn't really have to be readable. It just has to be familiar to the people that would look up that video, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the thing. And essentially try to avoid putting any words in the thumbnail like at all, unless it's impossible to have the title of the video encapsulate what you're trying to say. Otherwise, like maybe really one or two words at most. If it's like, oh no, maybe that's fine. Or just like a stop. Like if you're telling the company to stop doing something, you just have a big stop sign, something like that. But in general, less is more. So that'd be my tips. Release a video at the same time of day once a week, at least every week, and that will gain algorithmic attention because a lot of people are used to, what do you call it? Like the word for rhythm, but in a calendar sense. I'm blanking on the word. But people are used to showing up and doing things at certain times in the week. And so if your stuff's on Friday, for example, or Saturday, whatever day it is, people are used to showing up and like looking at their phone like, oh yeah, the YouTuber I watch just posted at the same time, and they will expect that every single week. And so when you do that, it tells the YouTube algorithm that every time you release a video that day, that time, that's going to push it out to all those people. So it's good to be as consistent with your schedule as possible. I don't seem to practice that on my main channel, at least when I'm live streaming. When I'm live streaming, it's really all over the place. But if it's a video, I try to release it at the same time every day. So when is the best time? According to YouTube analytics, it seems that most people are on the internet at around noon Pacific. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best time. It just means that most people in the world are likely to see it at that time. You might want to play around with that. So, for example, because I do know because of that fact, a lot of people do release at noon Pacific. And if you release alongside it too, your stuff might be overshadowed by other people. So maybe release yours at noon 12:01 p.m. So when they log into their subscriptions, you're in front of everybody else. Could play around with that, or maybe a couple minutes ahead or behind. So yeah, I don't know the consensus of that. But I would say watch vidIQ because they definitely use the scientific method to determine what you ought to do. Shorts are a big thing. They're essentially YouTube's TikTok. And now that we know that there's possibilities of TikTok not being around or at least being inconsistent, I would recommend switching to a platform that you don't have to worry about whether it's going to go away or not. And that would be YouTube. Feel free to post whatever you want on TikTok, but you should also have the same content as a backup on YouTube as well. But I just think that there's more of an opportunity on YouTube rather than really anything else, because how much control that you have to get viewers on your channel is a lot better than just leaving it up to really kind of random chance. If you're live streaming, I would recommend YouTube versus Twitch. And on Twitch, it's really the rich get richer, and no one watches the people that have 0 viewers. And it's really rough. I used to stream on Twitch a little bit before YouTube had live stream. I would stream on Twitch, and yeah, I did it for quite a while, and it really never felt like it went anywhere. Also, Twitch will delete your live streams unless you, as the content creator, pays to have them up. But even if you pay to have them up, they only stay for 2 months, so they're still going to delete anyways. So it's like, why would I want to do that if my content is just going to be erased? And with Twitch, it definitely pushes people who are live rather than any saved content. It's almost impossible to find videos unless you're going to the specific content creator's channel on Twitch and looking at their saved videos. You can save like short clips on Twitch essentially forever, but like a full live stream, you can't. So because of this, it's best to make money on Twitch only when you are live streaming and people will donate. But on YouTube, you can make money while you are live streaming and while you are asleep as well. On my main channel, I have, I think, 1,400 videos now. And even though they now only will get like a view here, a view there, because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, it adds up, and eventually I'll have enough videos on multiple channels that will trickle in enough money to where it's a sustainable income from that. So at least that's my plan. There are definitely there's plenty of different ways that you can make money on YouTube. I'm kind of just brute forcing it because I just like love making as much content as possible. There's other people that will try to do, in fact, most people I see that try to do YouTube will kind of say quality over quantity. And while the idea of that is swell, I typically see people that will work really hard on something and then they post it and then it doesn't do well. And they're like, well, I give up. And it doesn't work out very well. vidIQ recommends that just make as much content as you can consistently. And every single time you make something, it will be better than the last. Just try to improve it just a little bit. And eventually you will be able to whip up something far better than the one friend that spent 3 months working on something and then the algorithm just happened to not pick it up. So by feeding YouTube as much as you can, YouTube will pick it up. If you're doing really high effort productions, then I would recommend at the minimum uploading like once every 2 weeks, but I think even that's really not great. I think if you want a solid chance to get traction, once a week is much better. Preferably, really, essentially more is better, but the more consistent that you make it is still good. Have it be attached to the week rather than just like as much as possible. So if you're deciding, okay, I'm going to do 2 videos a week, okay, well then release one on Friday and then one on Sunday or Monday or something, or on Tuesday, right? But whatever day you pick, make sure that it's the same day and time every single time you release it. So for me, my main channel, if I'm posting videos that time, I will release at noon Pacific every day. So that's just when people can expect to watch stuff. On my home videos channel, because there's, I think, 4,000 videos now, there's just so much freaking content that I just need to get it out as fast as possible. The maximum you should release ever is 3 videos a day. That also includes live streams. So because the YouTube notification system will notify subscribers a maximum of 3 times a day. So just don't do more than that. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any other questions regarding any tips for YouTube?
No.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, the last question is, what are your hopes for the future, or where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, hopes for the future. I really want to put a lot of time into doing YouTube because considering how advanced AI is getting and robots are getting, I am not very confident that capitalism is going to stay around for that much longer. When people get replaced by robots, um, that's going to be very challenging to get any kind of work. Uh, so um, I want to try to at least get some footholding in something that doesn't require me to report to somebody else, or something that a robot could easily do. Eventually, they'll just replace everything. But I think, at least for now, there's definitely a lot of pushback on content creating AI and any kind of art. I think that one is more likely safe from AI than not, because there's so much pushback on it. And now there is, at least in the contracts with Hollywood, uh, in writing that there's limits to where they can use AI for things. So um, at least they are protected right now. So hopefully maybe that'll come to some other things. Um, I'm not even entirely sure if my mind is made up on whether that is 100% good. I think right now I feel like it's more good than bad. But you know, you could argue, um, back when, before the Industrial Revolution, um, it caused a lot of people to lose the jobs that they're currently doing, and they had to get different jobs. And so I'm not, if robot replacing my job at Chipotle means that I don't have a job at Chipotle, I think that's fine, because I can get a job doing something more productive for society. Because if a robot can do it and a human's doing it, it's a waste of time for humans to continue to do it. When, um, you know, don't we all want a future where like nobody has to work anymore? Isn't that like the goal to one day have? I think that eventually having robots do all that would be great, and we'll look back on the days when people had to work. I really think we're at the end of that. So, what was the question?
Uh, Hopes for the future, and
Oh,
where do you
okay.
see yourself in 5 years?
5 years from now, um, I certainly hope I have at least 30,000 subscribers in 5 years. Um, that'd be rough if I didn't, but that's okay. At least 10,000. That'd be nice. Um, maybe one day I can get a play button, but my goal is to just be able to have. I think by then I would definitely want YouTube to be something that is sustainable income, and it takes a while. But the nice thing is that we have long lives to live, and so um, you know, if you think that's worth it, then great. But it does take time, and not only time but consistent effort to do. So don't don't get burnt out. Don't do something that you don't think you could keep doing. Um, when you feel like you got it under control, like if you're like, yeah, one video a week I can do no problem. I'm gonna try to ramp it up to 2. Great, whatever you need to do. So yeah, right now I have way more channels than I thought I would, and maybe in 5 years I'll have twice as many or something like that. So who knows? But yeah, that'd be nice. Getting hopefully I can use that to save up for a down payment on a house or something. So that'd be nice. Yeah, what is your 5-year plan?
I want my business to take off first of all, so I don't have to report to someone else, because I'm very much like, I want to work for myself.
Yeah,
Please,
same.
like, so that's definitely in there. I'll be graduating with my degree next January, so hopefully that gets me somewhere. I Sorry, mom and dad, if you're hearing this, but I want to move out of my parents' house. Do I have a plan to where I'm gonna go? No, but I'll figure it out. But yeah.
Very good. Also, just one more tip that popped in my head for people that are just starting out. People won't know that when you first released your videos, no one was watching them. So, like, treat it as if thousands of people are watching, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there will be. And they would have never known that the first month the video got 0 views, right? So when I was doing my very first Let's Plays, I think it was like Spider-Man or something, I just was like, hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. And there's literally not a single person watching at all. But I just treated it as if like I already had a big following. And now we do. So that's what I would say. Because if you don't, then it really ages your content.
Mm-hmm.
If you make it seem like nobody's watching, then but people are, it's just like kind of inconsistent. But because I treat it like people are watching, I'm able to I could do things like sharing the playlist. So if I ever feel like, hey, this playlist should get more views than it did originally, I could just share on Facebook or on YouTube itself, like, hey, who wants to watch Spider-Man? And as far as the new subscribers know, I did that recently, but no, I did that 5 years ago. So, yeah, they might notice a little bit different. Like, I'm not as fat, but that's nice. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I would say about that. Go subscribe to vidIQ and watch their stuff. They'll teach you how to make the best channel possible.
Okay. We'll conclude here. I know this episode's a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. It's cool. I'm gonna drop Bryce's channels in the description so y'all can go subscribe. I'm gonna steal a line from my friend in Wales. Subscribe to Bryce or I'm gonna block you. I'm just kidding. But shout out to my friend Roxy for that line. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm not gonna steal Bryce's line because it's his line. But
What's my line?
I'll see you the later days thing.
Oh yeah. You know what? No one actually asked me where I got that from. That's taken from Emily the Brave. She was my favorite YouTuber, and she stopped making content. But I can't find the video where she said it. I swear it was her line, because I know she said it at least one point. But yeah, that was her outro, was later days, and I kind of combined it with Boogie 2988's outro, where Boogie says, like, I love you very thank you guys so much for watching. I love you very much, and I'll see you again soon, is Boogie's. So mine is, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you very much. And until next time, later days.
But I will see you in the next episode.